Hey sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. In this video, I don't have one, not two, not three, but 4 video responses that I'm going to do to help support my fellow YouTubers. 4 of these channels, technically 5, are running contests for a variety of reasons. So I thought I would do one big video and combine all the video responses into one. But before I get into those 4 VRs, I want to give a special shout out to Mike's Mr. October and more. I'm going to have a link to his channel in the description of this video. Definitely go check out Mike's channel. Mike reached out to me a couple weeks ago, I think. Had some questions about how I did my videos, what software I used and cameras and things like that. And so I let him know what I use. It's all like free software and stuff. And he asked for my address and wanted to send me a little something for Christmas. I think he was sending out some little Christmas gift packages. So I'm gonna turn the camera around here and show off what Mike sent me. All right, this is the card that Mike sent. And in here, of course, he has his website, Mike's Mr. October and more. As you can see, when he cut this out here, just 72 subscribers. So definitely go check his channel out and give him some YouTube sports card collector support. And this is what he has to say here. Enjoy watching your videos and digging in deep. 10 most valuable cards for each year. Plus 100 cards for $100,000, those videos that I do. Thanks for your help in jumpstarting me into doing video content. Enclosed, you will find a little something best to your new home. And over here it says, John, wishing you a warm and wonderful holiday season. Wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Yours in collecting, Mike. And in this card here, Mike, I think this is from 2002 Fleer Fall Classics. The Harmon Killebrew, really cool looking card there. This was back in the day when, you know, card companies other than Topps had a full license, which was really nice. There's the back of the card. So it shows his postseason stats. And then 3 1980 Topps cards. We have Jim Palmer. Really nice. A Nolan Ryan. Really nice. And finally, a Carl Yastrzemski. Mike, thank you very much for these cards. Really appreciate it. Just, I don't know, just love collecting cards, love adding these to my collection. Really cool cards, especially these 3 here. Again, I remember obviously pulling 1980 cards from packs back in the day. And I'm pretty sure I had pulled a Carl Yastrzemski and a Jim Palmer, but I don't know if from the cards I had as a kid, if I ever pulled a Nolan Ryan. So this may be my only ungraded Nolan Ryan card from 1980. So really cool about that. So, all right, let's get back to the video responses. The first VR that I want to do is actually for 2 channels, A Collector's Dream Orlando and Sammy Thunder. Both channels are close to 2,000 subscribers each. Congratulations, Orlando and Sammy. It's one thing for a channel in this community to reach 1,000 subscribers, but both of you are nearing 2,000 subscribers. So congratulations on the success of your channels. And they're combining to do one contest. And what they want us to do is talk about the friendships that we've made through doing videos on YouTube and being part of this great YouTube card community that we talk about. And I want to talk about 4 YouTubers that I consider good friends of mine. and 3 of them are only because of me being on YouTube. Now, I've made lots of friends, acquaintances through YouTube, either through collaborating on videos, just some, comments back and forth on each other's videos. I've met a lot of you at the several nationals that have taken place recently. But again, there are a few that I want to specifically point out that I consider my closest friends. The first one being Mike Baseball Collector. Now, Mike, maybe not directly, but indirectly, is pretty much the reason why I started my YouTube channel. His was one of the first channels that I discovered on YouTube relating to sports cards, and it jump-started me into looking at other channels, videos, and so on. And I thought to myself, of course, this was the beginning of the pandemic. I'm approaching in January 4 years on YouTube. And I thought to myself, man, he's doing it. He's just talking about baseball cards, showing off cards in his collection. And hey, yeah, that's something that I can do. And of course, since then, he's not only been a friend to me, we've collaborated on some videos. I've been on his Golden Age of Cardboard videos a couple times. We've gotten together and done the Vintage 100 Index. I've had him on my channel a couple times as well for other things. And we've met over the last 3 nationals, I believe. But beyond being a friend, he's a mentor to me. He's been a mentor in terms of his focus, his passion for vintage baseball cards, but also how to negotiate a deal. I've sort of shadowed him at a couple nationals, picked his brain on how to negotiate a fair price, never pay sticker. And he's helped me hone my skill a little bit. I was pretty proud at this most recent national at some of the deals that I got on the cards. And a lot of that has to do with Mike, because I never really was a negotiator when it came to buying cards at a show. I still never paid sticker, but I think I let a lot of money on the table, so to speak, by not being maybe a little bit more aggressive enough. But Mike and I have texted offline from videos, talked on the phone. Again, he's given me lots of different advice and different things, and has been a great friend. The other one, Don's Field of Dreams cards. I've gotten to know Don pretty well, consider him a good friend of mine. We've partnered this year on Two Guys, One Hobby set of videos. I've been out to see him. Of course, I've seen him at a couple nationals. But I've traveled over to his place. We went to a card show in Pittsburgh. Really nice guy, down to earth. We joke a lot on our Two Guys, One Hobby videos. We poke fun at each other and all that stuff. And so I consider Don a really good friend as well. And the third one, Eric, 4-Leaf Cards. Now, in some of my past videos, I've talked about how Eric and I actually met. We met at our local card shop, my local card shop. Eric's from New York State, but he travels down in this area occasionally for business. And we didn't know who each other was. It was just a serendipitous type of meeting. I was actually loading some magazine racks that my local card shop no longer needed, and I said, hey, I can use them in my Boggs room. And you probably saw them in my old setup in my old house right behind me, and I had all my different magazines featuring Wade Boggs on them. Anyway, I needed help loading those onto a truck. He just happened to be there. If you met Eric, he's a pretty big guy, so he was quite willing to help me load that stuff up. We said our thanks. I didn't even get his name, I don't think. And I left, he went into the card shop, and somehow the topic of either Wade Boggs or whatever came up, and the guy working at the card shop said, "Hey, you just missed one of the biggest Wade Boggs collectors." And he's like, "Oh, wow, interesting." And then I don't know how long ago after that, maybe 6 months or so, he sees this channel, Wade Boggs Fan, show up on YouTube. He's like, "Wait a minute, Central Pennsylvania?" And he reached out to me and he said, "Yeah, I was the guy that actually helped you load those magazine racks onto the truck." And ever since then, we've been good friends. He was down at my old place twice, and a couple weeks ago, he was back in the area, and he came out to the new house as well. Hung out here for, I think it was like 4 hours or so. We were just talking everything, even beyond baseball cards and collecting and stuff, and is a really nice guy. The third person I am going to mention here, because technically he does have a YouTube channel. And by the way, all the channels that I'm going to be mentioning on all these VRs, I'm going to have a link to their channel in the description of this video. So if you're not familiar with any of these channels that I'm mentioning, definitely go check out their channels, check out some of their videos. All of them have really good content, and you'll definitely want to check them out and hopefully subscribe to their channel. The last one I want to talk about is probably a person I would consider my best friend within the hobby. And that's someone I've probably known for, I bet you, it's close to 10 years, way before me getting on YouTube. But I mentioned him for a couple reasons. He technically does have a YouTube channel. He hasn't posted many videos. The channel name is ChickenManFan. So, of course, Chicken Man, Wade Boggs, we are talking about my good friend Rich Davis, the Boggs father, the Wade Boggs collector of all Wade Boggs collectors. We got connected because I was featured in an episode of, or an issue of Beckett Magazine as one of their earliest super collector editions, where they would feature collectors that have super collections of a particular player. And of course, mine was Wade Boggs. It had my contact information, I think my email. And of course, Rich saw that and said, "Hey, another Wade Boggs collector," and he reached out. And ever since then, I mean, on a daily basis, both he, myself, a couple others, members of the Boggs Trust, have a text group, and we're always going back with texts on just various things, mostly centered around Wade Boggs and things we've picked up and stuff like that. But he's been such a good friend. When I got married 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, for the second time, he was in my wedding party. I invited him out to the wedding. He came in from Chicago just for my wedding, to be a part of my wedding, and it was just a great time. So I consider Rich probably my best friend within the collecting hobby. So I did want to give him a special shout out. And again, he technically does have a YouTube channel, ChickenManFan. I think he's done some videos of his Boggs Tavern. If you were impressed with my former setup and Wade Boggs collection, prepared to be blown out of the water by looking at his collection. And I think even since those videos, he's expanded his collection. So that is the VR for Orlando, Collector's Dream, and Sammy at Sammy Thunder. All right, on to the next VR. The next VR is for PeterB. Now, PeterB, I've known him mainly from comments on my videos. Of course, he does have his own YouTube channel, and nice collection. He's still fairly new to YouTube. I think his contest that he's doing is he's celebrating 150 videos that he's done on his channel, and he has around 150 subscribers. Way low in the subscriber count, so hopefully all of you can go visit PeterB's channel and subscribe to his channel if you're into vintage cards at all. Just watch some of his videos, subscribe to his channel, give him some hobby love. But for his contest, he wants us to show off cards in our collection from the year we were born. And I was born in 1972. So luckily, through my building of my vintage collection, I do have some graded cards from 1972. I think I have 8 of them. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show them off. Okay, before I show off the 8 cards that I have from the 1972 top set, just a quick little story about the set. Early on, when I was collecting, my interest or focus, I guess back then, was collecting complete sets. And at the time, my oldest set was 1980 that I had. And my parents told me later on that they were considering getting me a complete set from 1972 because that was the year I was born. And we're probably talking the mid to late 80s. They were thinking of doing that, probably around the mid 80s. And my local card shop did have a 72 top set. Not sure what overall condition, but knowing him, it was probably at least a EX, excellent condition overall set. And when my parents inquired about getting one for my birthday, I think they had a little bit of a sticker shock because at the time it was $600. Today, that doesn't. $600 is still a decent amount of money, but for an entire 72 top set, now seems like a pretty good bargain. But so nonetheless, I did not get a 1972 Topps complete set from my parents. So maybe one day I will have one. But here are the cards that I have from the 1972 top set, and the first one is the Stremski. Let's see if we can get that to focus. There we go. A nice 7.5. And not to be outdone is the Stremski in action card. Just love all the colors, like the little, I guess, I don't know if you can describe it as like the disco colors with just the way the team name comes out there with the streaming little colors. Here's the Harmon Killer Brew. Just a very, very colorful set, along with obviously the 75 set. A lot of collectors like the 72 set. And here is the Carlton Fisk rookie card. Then I have the Raleigh Fingers. Look at that unibrow going on there. I think it almost, then of course before his famous mustache, looks like he could have taken some of his unibrow to start his mustache there. But a very, very early picture there of Raleigh Fingers. Then we have a Jim Palmer. And next to last, my Hank Aaron. And finally, this one was a national pickup, but that wasn't necessarily. Oh, I'm thinking of a different year. I think I did maybe pick this one up at the National. I was thinking more of the 76 card I have, but it's the Tom Seaver. Well, there you go. Again, this is a contest for PeterB, wanting us to show off cards in our collection from the year we were born. The third VR that I'm going to be doing as part of this video is for John, 3D 80s Kid. And I don't think he's celebrating a certain milestone or whatever. I think he's just wanted to do a contest, and it's surrounding our obsessions within the hobby or our collecting. And he wanted us to talk about preferably 3 obsessions that we have about either how we collect, what we collect, things like that. I immediately thought of 2, and I have a 3rd one as well that I'm somewhat obsessive about. The first one, and again, I've talked about this in length over different videos. Some of them have been standalone videos, but the first one is centering for vintage cards. Again, my collection isn't perfect. Some of the cards that aren't maybe that well centered are ones that I've purchased years and years ago, before that was an issue with me. But whenever I buy a new vintage card, I don't care what the number grade on it is. The card has to be fairly well centered. Now, I'm not so nitpicky that it has to be like, 55-45 or completely 50-50. I mean, okay, even if it's like 60-40, some cards, depending on, for example, the 53 Bowman color cards. I have 3 really nice 53 Bowman color cards that when I look at the card, I don't really see the borders just because of the little bit oversized cards that the 53 Bowmans are. But just the bright colors, my eyes get focused directly on the player, and I don't notice the borders as much. There are other card designs where the border, whether it be a white border, black border, whatever, are more prominent in the overall look of the card. In those cases, man, I need that card to be fairly well centered, or that's the first thing I'm going to notice about that particular card, and I'm not going to be able to enjoy the beauty of that card because the first thing I'm going to notice is, oh, this card's off center. If I can look at a card and not be bothered by the centering and can focus and enjoy on the main aspect of the card, the picture of the player, that's a card I want in my collection. So my first obsession is centering on vintage baseball cards. The second sort of obsession that I have is I want all my vintage cards to be graded in PSA slabs. Again, I've done a couple videos on why I prefer PSA over SGC. Those Beckett vintage graded slabs that I have in my collection, I'm going to be doing a video early part of the year as a wrap up of 2023 and my goals for 2024, and I'm going to be announcing a little project I'm going to be working on to eventually get all those BVG slabbed cards into PSA slabs. It doesn't really have to do anything with the registry. I'm not going to go into all my reasons why I prefer my slabs in PSA holders. But again, you can search my video library, and I have a video there that talks extensively about that. But that's my second obsession, wanting eventually, or any new card that I get, it has to be in a PSA slab. I want everything uniform within my vintage collection. Now, the third obsession has to do with my Wade Boggs collection. And I guess you could say I'm fairly obsessive in making sure that my master checklist is kept up to date. Now, occasionally I'll fall behind. Currently, I'm missing maybe about 2 or 3 recent sets that have come out, and I need to get those added to my checklist. But I'll add cards that I know I'll never have in my collection. A lot of these new sets have a ton of one-of-ones or really low serial number cards, and chances are I'm not going to have them in my collection. But I still want to have a master checklist out there, or as complete as possible, just so I know it's out there. And actually, other Boggs collectors have reached out to me and said, hey man, is there some checklist out there? And everyone says, hey, John has the checklist, so I've made that public on Google Docs and stuff. I need to update the version on that, but I've made that available to collectors that want to have a pretty complete. Again, it's not maybe 100% complete, but there probably aren't many Boggs cards out there that are not on my checklist. So that's my third obsession, making sure that my Boggs master checklist is always up to date. And the fourth and final VR that's part of this single video here is for Hugo, Signs of the Pastime. What he wants us to do in our video response is show off the biggest acquisition for 2023 in our collection. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to stretch it a little bit. I have an honorable mention, and then I'm going to show off what I consider is my biggest, most exciting purchase for my collection of 2023. All right, here is the honorable mention for the best pickup for my collection in 2023. This one was a backup option at this year's National. It was one where the card that I sort of had dreams of picking up, wasn't sure if I would be able to pick up. I would have been my backup because I figured I'd probably find more copies of this card than the one that I really wanted. Also, the one that I really wanted, not sure if I had the budget for it, depended upon the grade. A lot of factors. I wasn't too sure whether I'd come away with it. And so I had this particular card as a backup, and as it turns out, I managed to pick up both the one I was really hoping to get and this card as a backup. I did have to get a really low grade of this particular card, but just amazed that I was able to come away from this year's National with both of these cards. And it's just a beautiful card. It's the 1954 Bowman Mickey Mantle. And again, as you can see, it's a PSA 1. What I was happy about was the centering. There are some creases, but unless you're looking at it really close, there are some significant creases. One goes, sort of by his head there, but, sort of at a distance like this. Yeah, you can tell there's some issues, but it still, to me, presents well for PSA 1. And the best part is it still fit in my budget. So I didn't go into it thinking I'd be getting a 2 or a 3, because I definitely would not have been able to pick up both cards at the National. Here you can see the back there with all those multiple creases they've gone through the back, but I don't care. This is, to me, this has been one of the bigger mantles for me to add to my collection. Obviously, the 51 Bowman, 52 Tops, they're just way out of my league right now. I do have the 52 Bowman. The next one probably would be the 53 Bowman. I really like that Mickey Mantle. That's probably the next closest one on my wish list in terms of the 50s. Mickey Mantle. Still need the 56, of course, and that's a very popular one. But to add this 54 Bowman Mickey Mantle in my collection, and again, I'm sure a lot of collectors out there, if this was, this card here, this may have been their biggest pickup for the year. But this one is only my runner-up. The biggest pickup was the one that I was really hoping, because I did save up quite a bit of money for the National this year. I think more than any other year, actually, and found it for maybe a little bit higher grade than I was originally thinking of spending on it, but I got a really good deal on it, and that's the 54 Bowman Ted Williams. This is a card that, and I've mentioned it several times, so I apologize for repeating if you've heard this, but I've wanted this card ever since I saw it pop up in price guides, whether it be Beckett or Tough Stuff or any of the other price guides from back in the 80s when I first was really getting serious about collecting, and I would see an image of this card, know the fact that this card was technically never supposed to be produced, that they eventually withdrew this from production and replaced it with Jimmy Piersall of the Red Sox. So this card number 66 here, because of his contract with Topps for 1954, Bowman was not allowed to print these cards of Ted Williams. So I don't know what the total population was, but I think fairly early on, they had to switch things over. So it's a not an error card to speak, but it's a sort of a short print. I think at least you could consider that. Love the centering on this. It is a 2.5, but there's a little bit of mark right there by his chin. But just overall, I've always loved this image of Ted Williams. Again, with the 54 Bowman, the facsimile autograph at the bottom there. There's the back. Back's fairly nice and clean. It's mainly, I think, there's some definitely some edge wear, and I think at the top there's some edge and corner wear, a little discoloring there. But overall, to me, a great example of the 54 Bowman Ted Williams, and I'm over the moon. I've run out of adjectives to explain this 54 Bowman Ted Williams. This is, I have a lot of nice vintage cars that I think are beautiful. Again, regardless of value or whatever, just the beauty of the cards, or cards that I've always wanted in my collection. And I think at this point, I'd have to say this 54 Bowman Ted Williams is probably the highlight, the key piece of my vintage baseball card collection. Now, again, a lot of examples that the 54 Bowman Mickey Mantles, some of my other Mickey Mantles, Christy Mathewson T206 card, they're all beautiful. But this is the one that I've always wanted, and now it's finally in my collection. So, Hugo, again, thanks for throwing this little contest out there, wanting us to show off our best pickup of 2023. There you go. 4 video responses for 5 channels holding contests. Again, I wanted to combine them all into just one big video. Hopefully this isn't too long of a video, but I think it just made sense to include all of them together in one, just to show my support for all those great channels that are currently running contests. Again, please, if you are not already subscribed to any of these channels, check the description of this video out. I will have links to their channels. Definitely go check them out. Again, I love spreading the hobby love around YouTube here. I want everyone to get to know each other, check out everyone's videos and channels, and hope that everyone grows within the community. So again, for those of you holding contests, A Collector's Dream, Sammy Thunder, PeterB, 3D 80s Kid, and Signs of the Pastime, thank you for putting on these contests all around the Christmas time here in the spirit of giving. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.